Hello, everyone. It's time for Vanished Chicagoland Stories, the podcast. I'm your host, Pete Costanis. This is episode 348, season 14. Today's date is July 20th, 2024, and welcome to the show. On today's program, I'm going to do something very special. I'm going to do a tribute episode for actor and comedian Bob Newhart. He just passed away this week, and this is a very sad event. He is one of Chicago's own, and we're going to miss him terribly. What a wonderful talent this man had. I will discuss his biography, his work, his TV, that includes his TV shows, his movie roles. He's got a long list. So I believe I'm just going to talk about him throughout the program. Nothing else. No other subjects. So this will be this could be just him. That's it. Okay. Right now, the program will go into a commercial break, and this program is brought to you by Nabisco Wheatsworth Stone Ground Wheat Crackers. That's a mouthful. If you add up crackers in your mouth, that will be a mouthful. And I remember these very well. And here's a commercial from 1980. And I remember this product very well. So sit back and relax, and I'll be right back with the show, folks. Thank you.
Nabisco gives rise to a remarkable cracker. New Wheatsworth Stone Ground Crackers.
Stone ground wheat flour with a touch of sesame make a delicate taste with a difference.
Try Wheatsworth with soup, Wheatsworth with salad, Wheatsworth with cheese.
A delicate taste with a difference.
Wheatsworth Stone Ground Crackers, new from Nabisco.
Okay, everyone, I am back. I hope you enjoyed the commercial for Wheatsworth crackers. If you're going to ask me, are they still around? Like most people do? I don't believe so. No, I haven't seen them. They were around since the late 70s, early 80s. I think I may have tried these when I was younger, probably in high school. Maybe my mom picked up a box at Jewel or Dominic's. They sounded pretty good. I don't remember really, but I do remember the commercials. Yeah, so I love crackers. I really do. My favorite are Ritz, saltines, for example. You remember Hi-Ho? Sunshine? Those were good. I don't think they make them anymore. No. And now we have Cheez-It, Ritz, Keebler, Townhouse crackers. Those are good. I think Sunshine made also crispy crackers with a K. Yeah. So crackers are a good snack. You put dip, cheese, anything you want. It's wonderful. The problem is it has salt. So that's, you got to watch it, especially at our age. So that stinks. It really does, but who doesn't like a good cracker? Pretzels are good too. Okay. All right. At the beginning of the program, I mentioned I'm going to do a special program that features actor and comedian Bob Newhart. And I'm going to talk about his career and also his biography. Before I get started, I'll mention one thing. No health updates. Everything's fine so far. So I won't go to the doctor till next month. It's going to be a while. I just noticed something on Facebook, like people don't have time for them. They don't have time to spend with their friends, like me and other people, because, well, I'm single. So that's fine. But, but there are people who are married and have children and, they get, they have time, they have with their families, they spend time with their families, their wives and their kids, and because they have activities and responsibilities and they go places, that's understandable, And, I am single, but I have responsibilities too. Not like that, but I'm an adult and I have things to do as well. I just don't sit around a house all day long. That's not true. Because I help out with my family like that. But the most beautiful thing is that when you spend time with your friends and you call them, or they call you, they say, "Hey, let's get together. Let's get together for dinner. Let's go to a movie. Let's go to the festival, the Greek festival. Like I went last weekend. And I went 2 days straight with my friend from childhood. We had a great time. To tell you the truth, it was a little bit much. Saw him 2 days straight, but that's okay. I'm glad he came. That's wonderful. And then we saw other people. So try to make time, to spend quality time with your friends. They're always there. Family's there too, because when it comes to me, I've had a health crisis, and I'm trying to do all the things I want to do. Nothing daring, like climb a mountain or do bungee jumping or zip lining. No, none of that stuff. Or go on a trip. I can't travel yet. I'm not. I'm still in therapy. The hormone therapy, that is. So it's going to be a while. I got to wait for what the doctors say, so I can travel. I love to travel because I used to do that in my business. So just do that, As a matter of fact, I'm going out to dinner with my friends. I believe in about 10 days. Looking forward to it, and those guys are as well are. It's wonderful. It's lovely. They invited me because I'm the only one who's single. It doesn't matter. We have a wonderful time. We talk, we laugh, we talk about things. It's great. Go out to a nice restaurant. We eat the best food. It's wonderful. It's community. Community. You do that. Now my brother's here from California. He retired. I spent a lot of quality time with him. I haven't seen him in 5 years, and it's awesome. And hopefully we'll go places together. He doesn't know what he's going to do yet, because he's going to move back to put the house for sale, and then come back and see what he's going to do next. And we'll see what happens like that. So it's awesome. It's real nice. Yeah. Just spend time. Like that. Because you never know. You never know, because, I lost a friend that I didn't know of 6 months ago. Boom, he was gone. Spend other times with other friends. Just do that. Okay? That's my advice from Pete Costanis. Okay, now, we're going to talk about Bob Newhart. Well, it's not a shocker, because he died at the age of 94. He had a period of short illnesses. I don't know what. And so who could not forget him? He was amazing. Awesome. One of the funniest men on television and movies, and he doesn't use profanity, or he wasn't goofy. He was just straight lace, deadpan comedy. It's hilarious. Even you just look at him, you just start laughing. He was so funny. He was wonderful. Watching his TV shows. Oh, that's fine. So I'm going to start with his biography. So believe it or not, he was born September 5th, 1929. His real name was George Robert Newhart. Believe it or not, that's his father's name. He was born in Oak Park. Now, here's something that I got a little confused. I think he was born on the west side of Chicago, and I think it's probably still there. There is a hospital called West Suburban Hospital. It's in Oak Park, I believe, and I haven't been in that area in quite a while. So he probably was born there, but he was raised in Chicago. And yesterday I posted a photo of the house that he grew up in and that was located at 26 North Mason Avenue in the Austin neighborhood. So he lived in the Austin neighborhood, and the house is still there. It's still there. It looks, I think it's like a gray stone house. It looks beautiful. It looks gorgeous. So I posted that. Someday I might take a drive and take a look at it to see, and pointed out that's where Bob Newhart lived, like that. Yeah. So his father's name was George David Newhart. Of course, Bob Newhart, his full name is George Robert Newhart. Okay. So we're both Georges. So I believe he was George Jr. His mother's name was Julia. She was a housewife, and his dad was a part owner of a plumbing supply business. And let's see. So he was educated in, Catholic schools. He attended St. Ignatius College Prep High School in 1947. And then he enrolled in, first in the grammar school, he went to St. Catherine of Siena Grammar School. I don't know if it's still there. It's in Oak Park. So he's only a block away, from Oak Park. So Austin Boulevard is the dividing line. And get back to college. He enrolled in Loyola University. He graduated in 1952 in business management. Then he got drafted in the Army. And he was a clerk during the Korean War. And then he briefly attended at Loyola University the School of Law, but he didn't finish. So he didn't. I think he wasn't interested. No. After that, he worked as an accountant, and there was a company called United States Gypsum, like you gyp somebody. I think he hated it. He just didn't like. He didn't like the work like that. Then he became an advertising copywriter, and it was a company called it was a person, I believe. His name was Fred A. Niles, and he was a independent film and television producer in Chicago. And he's like my brother because he's a copywriter. And then he got on with a coworker, and this is when he started the long telephone calls. That sketch where he put his hand on his ear and did that. And then he auditioned, and then they went to New York, and then he performed at nightclubs, and then he was on his way, like that. And then he recorded a record album in 1960. It was called The Button Down Mind of Bob Newhart, and it zoomed up to number one. Just like that. And it's amazing. That is awesome that he did something like that. And then there were other albums as well. And how many albums did he do? He did a few. He did about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. About 8. Yeah. He did about 8. So, yeah, mostly we're in the 60s. The last one he did in 1997, but most was in the 60s. I've listened to a couple of them, and they're hilarious. Oh, they're wonderful. And it's so that's awesome to to listen to. It's not really dated, not really, but it's great. It really is. Now, then he got contacted by NBC to host a variety show. Okay. And it was called the Bob Newhart Show. Later on, we'll talk about the second one, but it was called that, and it ran from October 1961 to June 1962. I'll repeat again: October 1961 through June 1962. It ran 1 year, and it was 27 episodes. It didn't do well in the ratings. It was canceled, but the got nominated for it did win an Emmy, so that's great. That's wonderful. And so Bob Newhart was in high demand. He really was. And then Then he got signed for another TV series. I think it was called The Entertainers, I think, like that. And it started with Carol Burnett. That was didn't not very long, but he did guest spots, mostly on variety shows, like, for example, Ed Sullivan, the Dean Martin Show. He appeared like 24 times. Bob Hope. He also did sitcoms, for example, what's that one called? Oh, Captain Nice. It was like one year, like that. Like for the variety shows, he also was on the Judy Garland Show, where Judy Garland had their own variety show one year. I think you can find that on the YouTube. Also, he guest hosted the Tonight Show with Johnny Carson, and he hosted Saturday Night Live twice. And let's see, and he also appeared on the Alfred Hitchcock Hour, and he was that was a serious role. When you watch him in a serious, when you watch Bob Newhart in a serious role, that looks kind of weird, like that. Okay, so then after he appeared on the Smothers Brothers Comedy Hour, starting the Smothers Brothers, he got contacted by the producers from the Mary Tyler Moore Show and asked, "You want to do a sitcom?" And he said, "Yeah." So he did that. And so he got, in 1972, he got the show, the Bob Newhart Show. So you don't hear much about the first show, but now the Bob Newhart Show is a sitcom, and it premiered September 16th, 1972 on CBS on Saturday nights. And it was like the block, you had MASH, Mario Tyler Moore, Bob Newhart. What else they had? I forgot the other show. They had the block, and then Carol Burnett was on 9 o'clock. I used to watch those on Saturday nights when I was a kid. I'll think of the other show like that. I don't think it was All in the Family. I'm not sure. Anyway, so I'll give you the quick premise of the show really quickly. So he was a psychologist. His name was Robert Hartley. He was based, and it was like, sometimes they showed scenes at his home, with his wife Emily, played by Suzanne Plachette, and then he had the office building where he worked, his practice, and he had crazy people working there, Carol and Jerry. He also had a crazy neighbor, Howard Borden, played by Bill Daly, Roger Healy from My Dear Genie. And there were some doctors that appeared. One of the most popular things on the show was his patients, that sat in, sessions. You had Elliot Carlin, remember him? Mr. Peterson, Mrs. Bakerman, all kinds of like that. And they're hilarious like that. And it's the way those people talk, and you just look at them and you start laughing. Of course, the best part of this show is the filming of the show in the beginning, where they filmed, they showed the building. In the beginning of the show, that building's still there. And then, you he walks around, he hops on the L. What's funny about this, the L is going the other way, the elevated trains, and then it seems like it's going south or north. I don't know. I'm not sure. And then it goes to his apartment building. That's and it looks like the Thorndale Apartments. That's on the Edgewater neighborhood of Chicago. It's still there. If you ever take a drive up north, go take a look. And there's Bob Newhart living there. And he did more. He filmed more in Chicago because he felt right at home. But they filmed a show in L.A. So that makes sense like that. And the show ran for 6 years, and it was very successful. CBS asked him to continue. He said, no. They also asked him if you want to have kids on the show. He said, no. Makes me look stupid. I don't want to be a father. They tried to talk to him that, but no, I don't want to do it. No, 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 no. So the ending of the show was pretty much, which I believe happened. Him and Emily moved to Oregon. Everyone went their separate ways. They reunited later on, maybe 19 years later or 20 years later, something like that. And and then they reran the show. I think starting in Channel 9 and WGN, and then on Channel 5, so it paired with Mary Tyler Moore, and that was a great lineup. And I watched the reruns religiously. I loved it. It's great. It is on DVD. I've only bought maybe one or two. I got to buy the whole series. It is available. So I got to buy the whole thing because it's awesome like that. Okay. After he took a quick break, he went into movies. Let's see. What movies did he do? The movies he did were not much. He did the first movie he was in was Hell is for Heroes in 1962. On a Clear Day You Can See Forever in 1970. Also Catch 22, if you remember those. He was in Cold Turkey. That's when the entire town quit smoking. All that. He was the voice in The Rescuers, with the mice. And he was the president in a movie First Family. I heard it was a bomb. That didn't go very well. Of course, the other movie he's most famous is Elf. He was Papa Elf. I think he was the greatest thing in that movie, in my opinion, besides Will Ferrell. So, he did a few like that. Anyway, right now I'm going to take a quick break. Then I'm going to talk about Newhart and his third series that didn't do very well. So just hang on and I'll be right back, folks. Thank you. Okay, everyone, I'm back. I'm going to talk about right now I'm going to talk about Newhart. Now, this show is nuts. It really was nuts. Not in the beginning, but then later on. And I'll explain why. I'll also talk about the series finale of the show, which is the most memorable one of TV land history. So here we go. That premiered in October 25th, 1982, and lasted until May 21st, 1990. 8 years. Starred Bob Newhart as Dick Loudon. Not Bob. His name wasn't Bob. His name was Dick. And he had a wife, Joanna. Not Suzanne Plachette, not Emily. Her name was played by Mary Fran. I liked her. She was very nice. Yeah, she was very good. And the premise was that they moved from New York to a small town in rural Vermont to operate a inn called the Stratford Inn, which was about 200 years old. And mostly was the townsfolk that made the show famous like that. And of course, you had Tom Poston, one of Bob Newhart's best friend. He was that George Utley, the handyman. Oh, he's hilarious. What a great guy. In the beginning of the show, they had the cast members. They had the owner of the Minuteman Cafe, owned by Kirk Devane. That's played by Steve Kapman. But he was only there for about maybe a year or two. Then he left. And then there was another one, Leslie Vanderkellen. She was a student and who takes a job at as a maid. She was played by Jennifer Holmes. Now those two left, and then Julia Duffy came and took over, and she was perfect. She was spoiled, lazy, crazy. And then there was Peter Scolari from Bosom Buddies. And they became a couple, and then they got married, and then one of the most memorable support characters was not them; it was Larry, Daryl, and Daryl. Every show they come on, they would say some story or something goofy, but when they entered, this is like the famous one, like even like Squiggy from Laverne and Shirley. He would say, hello. And he would say, hi, I'm Larry. This is my brother Daryl, and this is my older brother Daryl. And Larry talked, but the other Daryls didn't. And it's like, and then Bob Newhart would go crazy. He was like, I'm losing my mind. And then at the end of the show, the last show, he got hit by a golf ball, and then he passed out. And then the last scene was he was back in Chicago in bed with Emily Hartley. He was Bob Hartley now, and so it was all a dream. So it was an 8-year dream. It was, and according to the sources, Bob Newhart says this was his wife's idea. She got the idea from Dallas because it was a season where Bobby Ewing died, and then they brought him back, Patrick Duffy, and then she got that idea, and he said, "Okay, let's do that." So the entire show we watched from the beginning to the end, until the final moments of the show, was a dream. It was a dream, Bob Hartley was still with us. Isn't that something? That's hilarious. And so that, to tell you the truth, Newhart's okay. I love the show, but I like the Bob Newhart Show better. I don't know why. I like that better. It's funnier. It's a little more believable. You understand that. So I enjoyed that a lot. I really did like that. And after that was done, Bob Newhart wanted to go back to work. He had enough of that for Newhart. And he did come back to work on a third series. And it was called, what else? Bob. Just Bob. And this was something different. And he was a comic book creator, and he created a superhero called Mad Dog from the 1950s. And it aired on CBS from September 18th to 1992, and only lasted till about a year and a half, 2 seasons, on December 27th. And so he worked for Ace Comics, and there was a guy named Harlan Stone that was his boss. And when someone contacted him, and he wanted to bring back to Mad Dog back to comics, but he wanted him to turn into not the way he wanted to create it, and there was they butted heads with each other, and then he had a crazy cast of characters, supporting cast. He had his wife, his name was Kay, played by Carleen Watkins, and do that. So it was just like the Bob Newhart Show, only in the comic book world. And it was funny. The thing was different. This time, Bob Newhart had a pet. He had a cat. His name was Otto. And I remember at the beginning, I used to watch the show, and the cat did all kinds of tricks. I remember he came over, for example, Bob Newhart was watching a show on TV, and he stepped out of the room, and then Otto came over and jumped on the couch, and then he took his paw and chased the channel on the remote. Smart cat. It was cute. Like that. So the ratings didn't do very well, and so the show came back in the second season. All the supporting cast was gone pretty much. Then Betty White came, and she became his boss. And so they had that. That didn't do very well, and then it was canceled, which is a shame. I like the series. It's on DVD. Also, Newhart is on DVD. And then he started in a fourth series, no Bob in the title. It was George and Leo that starred Judge Hirsch from Taxi. And that lasted a year. That premiered on September 15th, 1997 to March 16th, 1998. Excuse me, 1998. Can't blah, blah. And it didn't do very well. I guess because we see him as Bob Newhart, or we miss the old Bob Newhart. So he tried. Other than that, he did guest spots on Desperate Housewives. The last roles he did was Big Bang Theory. He did that. He was awesome in that. I like that. So they asked him to appear. Oh, that was wonderful. And what's his character's name? Oh, yeah. He was Professor Pruton. He played another character before. He was there for six. He did for 6 episodes of that. I saw a couple of them. Oh, they were funny. They were funny. And I don't know what he did after that. Maybe did some guest spots here and there. Sometimes I think he did a guest spot in ER, and then it was a dramatic role like that. And then his wife died last year. So I remember he was interviewed on WGN TV Channel 9 in Chicago, the morning news, and he was like awesome. When the Cubs won the World Series in 2016, he was home. He was in Seattle. I don't know if that was his home or one of his children. He was holding the big W, that the Cubs won the World Series. That was great. That was wonderful. Big fan of that. One last thing I want to mention, there's like a game they play in college called Hi Bob. Every time college kids watch the show, the Bob Newhart Show, excuse me, when they mention his name, they say, "Hi, Bob, Bob." They take a drink. They take a sip of beer, take a shot. Bob Newhart said one time, this is kind of dangerous. Why are you doing that? I don't know who started it really, so that was bizarre to me and a lot of people. But, oh well, I don't know. I don't think they still play that. I hope not. I don't know. Okay. So anyway, Bob Newhart passed away July 18th, about 2 days ago. The tributes are still coming in on social media, and he's unforgettable. We'll miss him, but his shows live on forever, in reruns. I want to buy that DVD for Bob Newhart Show. I have a couple, like I said before, I have a couple of seasons. I want to buy the whole thing. Start from the beginning to the end. It's hilarious. Okay. So that's it for this show. I'll do a recap of what I talked about. Of course, I talked about a tribute episode to actor and comedian Bob Newhart. And so this podcast will be published later on today, wherever podcasts are available. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, Breaker, Overcast. You just tap on an app wherever podcasts are available. Tap follow. You'll get to the latest episode. Also listen to previous episodes if you wish. Also be on my blog, vanchicagoland.blog. Click on that. It'll take you right to it. Also, it'll be my YouTube channel. Again, people ask me, where's your podcast? Where do I find your podcast? You find it on YouTube, Van Chicagoland Stories, the podcast. Type it in. Click subscribe. It doesn't cost anything. Just listen. You can listen to previous episodes if you wish. Also, it'll be shared on my social media accounts, Facebook, X, LinkedIn, Reddit, Instagram, Blue Sky, TikTok. I forgot what else. Threads. Hope I didn't leave anything out. Okay. One last thing. I will do a special podcast episode very soon on the 60th anniversary of Ray Rayner and Friends, the TV show that gave us many memories. Pleasant memories of Ray Rayner and his wonderful shows, his cast. I will talk about that very, very soon. Probably Tuesday. We'll see. And then I will do a special video coming up after that, and I'll write a story on my blog, vanchicagoland.blog. Okay. So I will probably do another podcast tomorrow. Maybe. I will do that. I'll let you know. I'll post an announcement. Okay. Anyway, let's see what else. I can't think of anything else, so that's it. So this is Pico Stein, your host for Van Chicagoland Stories, the podcast. Thank you for joining me. It's a beautiful day. I hope I can walk. I'm still tired. We'll see. And so here's bye-bye for me, and here's our guest of honor for my milestone episode coming soon, Ray Rayner, doing a little traveling music, saying bye, bye, bye. Take care, everyone, and so long.
We have to go. Bye, bye, bye.